Today's video is all about phone photography. I hope you enjoyed that intro. As I was just mentioning in the intro, today's video is about 3 quick phone photography tips. I think especially for the holiday season, it might be helpful. I will be taking photos on an iPhone 11. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think it really matters what phone you have. The idea is just to share with you guys some tips to take just better photos in general. So we're not gonna take the photos here. I actually wanna take you somewhere else for those photos. So let's go. Clearly a different day because I'm wearing a different outfit, but I was gonna go somewhere else, but I figured I'd just bring the subjects here. So yeah, you ready? Come in, let's go, come on. You all know where. All right. Let's begin. Come on, come on. You can say hi? Hi. Okay. Tip number 1 is just using lighting to expose your subject properly. So what I mean by that is a lot of time people backlight because they're like, oh, the view looks so nice outside. So they put their light source behind their subject. And when you do that, it kind of looks like this, where if you expose properly for the outside, then your subject looks dark like this. Sophie, can you look at me? But if you just simply here. Yeah. If you simply turn your subject where they're facing your light source, so whether it's the windows or a nice lamp, all of a sudden this is what it looks like. Can you look at me? Can you look at me again? Can you look at me and cheese? And then you can even side light them for a more dramatic look. Can you look at me again? Good job. So that's tip number 1, it's just proper lighting. Tip number 2 is just changing your perspective. So a lot of times, Sophie's sitting down right now, if you have kids or pets, what we tend to do is we shoot eye level, or we just do it from a perspective where it's like this, where, you know, like we're still standing up and they're sitting down or they're playing. But if you all of a sudden either get lower or higher, it'll change what the image looks like. So Sophie, can you sit down again for me? So now all of a sudden, this is what you see. Can you say cheese? Can you be playing on your phone? And even switching it up where you do something like this. Hi, Joy. So that's tip number 2, just change your perspective. A lot of times, again, we get lazy or we don't even think about maybe getting eye level with our subject, but that's just another tip. So tip number 2 is just changing your perspective. My last tip is depth. So especially with phones, unlike maybe DSLRs or mirrorless cameras, you're not going to get as much of that blurriness in your background. And so a lot of times what people do is they'll put their subject against their background. So let's say you see a cool wall outside or your Christmas tree inside. You usually put your subject against the wall. And so this is what that looks like. You guys look at me. Cheese. But if you bring your subject off of your background a few feet, all of a sudden what you'll see separation between your subject and that background. And a lot of times that makes your subject pop out more. It makes them more accentuated. And so you're really just creating more attention for your eyes, the viewer's eyes, to go to your subject first. This is what that looks like. All right, so I just brought them up closer to me, further away from the back. Ready? Look at me. Cheese. And then another tip that goes along this tip is, rather than always just photographing your subject face on or forward or straight, shoot at an angle a little bit. It'll give more dynamicness to the image. So you're creating more depth to that way because you're covering more distance in your photo by shooting at an angle. So kind of like this. Can you guys look at me? Cheese. Awesome. Good job. I just opened up the curtains here, so now Sophie has a ton of space behind her, so you'll see what a photo looks like before, where it was just against the backdrop, and now where there's a lot of space between her and the background. Can you sit there for me again? Can you sit for me, cheese? Cool. 여기 앉아. Hey? I say cheese. Yeah, last one, Yana. Cheese. Can you look at me and say cheese? Okay. So that's it. Yeah, that's tip number 3, is just creating depth in your image. So bring your subject off of your background a little more, and you'll find that that separation will create more of the viewer's attentions to go to your subject first. Make them pop a little bit. Yeah. I hope these 3 tips were helpful. I know they're very simple, but hopefully they'll make your images just look a little better, especially this holiday season as you guys take photos for your family and friends. Just lighting, properly exposing your subject. Try to have your light source face your subject rather than having their back against it. Tip 2 is just perspective. So rather than always getting used to photographing this way or at eye level, try to get lower, try to get higher, try to even shoot from like the staircase or somewhere else where you can just change your perspective a little bit. And then tip number 3 is just creating depth in your photos. Obviously with a phone, you're still not gonna get crazy depth like you would with a professional camera, but having your subject off the wall or off the background a few feet will create just naturally some of that depth. Like it's like almost like natural portrait mode in your images. So hopefully you guys enjoy these tips. I'll do a more in-depth video about camera settings, what portrait mode, like the wide angle, everything when I talk about maybe mobile videography. But hopefully this helps, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, and I guess all we have to say is
Bye-bye, butterfly.
bye-bye, butterfly.